You already know what you need to do today. But you will not do it. You will open the laptop, stare at the blank document, then reach for your phone and disappear for 3 hours. This is not laziness. This is not poor time management. This is your brain refusing to find the work interesting. You call it procrastination. But procrastination is not the pattern. What you are experiencing is tolerance. Your dopamine system has adjusted to constant stimulation, scrolling, refreshing, switching tabs, watching nothing in particular. Every single one of these actions delivers a small hit. Therefore, real work feels unbearable, not because the work is hard, but because compared to the endless novelty of the internet, it feels like punishment. Your brain is not broken, it is just perfectly adapted to the environment you built for it. When you check your phone every 6 minutes and scan through 5 apps before breakfast, you are training yourself. You are teaching your brain that boredom is an emergency. That stillness must be immediately interrupted. That silence requires filling. Therefore, when you sit down to write the email, finish the proposal, make the call you have been avoiding, your brain does not register effort, it registers deprivation. The work is not dopamine-rich enough to compete with what you have been feeding yourself all morning, therefore you reach for the phone again. Not because you are weak, but because your brain is simply seeking the stimulus level it has learned to expect. This is the hidden mechanism. You are not avoiding hard work. You are just chemically unprepared for it. The tolerance you built makes focus feel like withdrawal. And every productivity system you tried ignored this completely. You downloaded the app. You time-blocked your calendar. You told yourself tomorrow would be different. But none of it worked. Not because the systems were bad, but because your dopamine baseline was still too high. You cannot out-discipline a chemical imbalance. You cannot force your brain to find boring work exciting when you have been flooding it with easy hits all day. Therefore, the problem is not your focus. The problem is what you did before you tried to focus. You call it getting ready for the day, checking messages, watching one video, scrolling for just 5 minutes. But what you were actually doing was raising the bar. Every piece of content you consumed before attempting the work made the work feel harder by comparison. Therefore, the solution is not better discipline. The solution is deprivation. You need to reset the tolerance. You need to starve your brain of all stimulation until hard work becomes the most interesting thing available. This is the law of stimulus substitution. Your brain does not choose based on what is objectively valuable. It chooses based on what is relatively stimulating. Therefore, if you remove every other option, work stops feeling like work. It starts feeling like relief. Pick one day, 24 hours. No phone, no computer, no music, no food except water. Nothing that delivers easy dopamine. You will not enjoy it. The first few hours will feel like withdrawal. Your hand will reach for your phone out of pure habit. Your brain will scream for something, anything, any distraction at all. But this is not punishment. This is recalibration. You are teaching your brain that boredom is not an emergency. That stillness is not dangerous. That silence does not require filling. By hour 5, the panic fades. By evening, your thoughts slow down. You stop checking the time. You stop expecting relief. You just exist. And the next morning, everything changes. When you sit down to work on the thing you have been avoiding for weeks, it does not feel heavy anymore. It feels interesting, not because the work itself changed, but because your brain is so starved for stimulation that even difficult tasks feel like a reward. You get more done in 3 hours than you did the entire week before. No willpower required. No forcing yourself to focus. The work just flows. This is not motivation. This is chemistry. You artificially lowered your dopamine baseline so that normal effort crosses the threshold again. Therefore, the task that felt impossible yesterday feels natural today. You do not need a better system. You do not need a better routine. You need a lower bar. And the only way to lower it is to stop feeding the tolerance. One day of nothing. One day of complete sensory deprivation. One day where your brain learns that doing nothing is the actual baseline. Therefore, Monday becomes easy. Not because you suddenly became disciplined, but because the work is now the most stimulating option your brain has access to. You call it a dopamine detox. But detox is not the mechanism. What you are doing is resitting the comparison. Your brain does not evaluate tasks in isolation. It evaluates them relative to everything else competing for attention. Therefore, if you remove the competition, the work wins by depolarity. This is why every other strategy failed. You were trying to increase your ability to focus, while simultaneously raising the dopamine threshold every single morning. You were trying to run uphill while digging the slope steeper. The moment you stop consuming, stop scrolling, stop filling every quiet second with noise, that is when you reclaim the ability to find meaning in effort. Therefore, the fix is not working harder. The fix is removing everything easier. You already know what needs to be done. The project, the email, the call. You always knew. But knowing was never the problem. The problem is that your brain cannot find it interesting enough to start, and it never will until you make everything else boring by comparison. One day of deprivation, one Monday of clarity, 1 week of momentum you have not felt in months. You are not broken. You are just chemically outmatched. Therefore, stop trying to fight the dopamine. Starve it. Reset it. Let the work become the reward again. You already know this will work. You just refuse when you're busy feeding the tolerance.